Everybody does this, that they think about or talk about something they would like to do, but they don't do it. So the number one thing you have to do is just do it. Just one way or another, get started. My name is Kent Nordby. I'm an oil painter. I've been painting for about 11 years. The way that I started painting, the reason I started painting is because my mom took an oil painting class just for the fun of it. And afterwards, she wasn't planning on continuing with her oil painting, so she just gave me all of her oil painting supplies. And I figured I would just entertain myself one day, just playing around with the paints and the canvases. I did not use those paints or canvases for about 2 or 3 years. They sat in a closet, and one day I finally got them out and I did a painting. And I had no idea what I was doing, and it was not a good painting, but it was fun. There was something about it that I liked. I was always a person who loved nature and beautiful scenery. I grew up in a beautiful place also, Lake Forest Park, Washington. As I grew up, I did a lot of hiking and camping, and I did almost always have a camera, and I enjoyed taking pictures. It was natural for me once I started painting to work off photographs, because it was just so easy to take photographs when I went hiking and camping. That was like the easiest way to capture an image. Once I have a photograph and I decide that it's a scene that I want to paint, I first think about what size and what proportion I want to paint it. And then I'll crop the photograph so that it's the same proportion of what I want to paint. And then from there, I print the photograph, typically in black and white, which is helpful because then you get a photograph where you can see the values, which is just to say the light and the dark, you know, the white and the black and all the shades of gray. Once I have that printed up, then I just draw a grid on it, and then I replicate the grid on the canvas, and then I'll just use that grid to then do the drawing onto the canvas. Then I'll just start painting layer by layer by layer, and basically what that means is at first I'll use extremely thin layers of paint where I dilute the paint. So it's very, very thin, and I'll just paint the areas like the basic color, like yellow and green and yellow again, but it's just in the most basic way. Once the first layer is dry, I'll just go back again and again and again, doing another layer where I get the colors a little bit more correct. I'll start adding details, I'll get the shapes more correct. And with each layer that I paint, it gets more and more like what I want it to be ultimately. And as I get towards the end, I start adding more detail. Like at first, it's very basic. You're just blocking in the chunks of the canvas with their basic color. But then as you go on and on and on, you end up adding like more detail, heavier paint, until finally you just get to where it's finished. Here in the Skagit Valley, I'm driving all around all the time, and there's about 1,000 places where I have thought, oh, I need to stop here and take some pictures because this is a beautiful view. So in terms of what I paint that's right around where I live, it's basically just because it'll be some view that I've seen many, many times. And I've thought to myself, oh, I have to stop and get a picture so that then I can do a painting of this scene. I'm excited about all the paintings I haven't done yet, and the fact that there's just so many different paintings and so many different scenes that I haven't yet painted, and they're still waiting to be done. And a lot of people are afraid of making mistakes or ruining their drawing or ruining their painting. You have to not be afraid. You have to just be ready and willing to go for it and not worry if you fail.